Okay, this is RIO Tinto. This is the weekly chart. I've just taken the high volume bars here from the May flash crash where we had some accumulation happening. You can see smart money buy on down bars, and that's what was happening here. They shook out the market and then they accumulated within this range here, building a cause for the next move up. And you can see that the price has now come back into that area and it's been acting as sort of support. And I think they've been attempting to get back into this range again. We'll just have to see, but we'll see that this area acted as support and we're just sort of on top of it there. So that's what we're watching at the moment. And I've marked the low of this high volume bar as well as support if that breaks at the 58.86, and if we go back we can find some more. It's a little bit messier, but down here at the GFC lows there's a 51, 36.23, so they're all support levels if it ever gets back there. Yeah, so I think that's we've got this downtrend line from the high here of June, and what was that, June 2008 was it, or June 2007, and that sort of acted as resistance to price as well. So we can have a watch what's happened there. We've had a little uptrending channel since June last year, and that's broken that now in this last crash. So with the zoom back in there, and that's what we're looking at. And so that the underside of this channel then acts as a form of resistance as well once it does that. So that's a weekly chart. But anyway, I probably should have marked this one as well. The low of this high volume bar here when it started to crash is actually where it's caught on our big down bar here and acting as resistance as well. So that's interesting. The high of that bar acted as support, then it broke all that with this big energetic bar down to the bottom of the channel and broke through. But then we see this big high volume kick in, but it closes on the high, so there must have been buying within this bar for it to close high like that as it was pushed through. If it was all selling, then it should have closed towards the low, but it's closed towards the high. Still plenty of supply there, so they're testing it, we hope. Next bar tries to go up on no demand, but it gets rejected, comes back on less volume, tries to push further in, but the close it doesn't get very far. The next bar springs up, so there's buying, some support happening within this area. The next bar is a test. It's a nice test because it is less volume now than there was in this bar, and it's testing within the body of this bar. The next bar is also a test, but we see supply is now increased. We're hoping to see supply get less and less, but supply is actually increased on there, so that's not what we want to see, but it's a test anyway. It's closed high and supply demand did overcome supply, so it's still so within this range here. So we're hoping that perhaps there's some accumulation happening. The fact that these are down bars here are repelling. You get high volume on the down bar, and the next bar goes up, tells you there's buying in the bottom there. So but I think there has been an attempt to push further into the bottom of this bar. I think they'd really love to get to test around here, but I'm not sure if the news is bad enough for that just yet. We'll go to the daily chart, and I've just got a broad sort of channel from March and April, it looks like, and so sort of around the middle of that channel. That's a bit of a broad channel there, but anyway, I'll just put it there. I've got a smaller one just taken from these recent highs since the crash, and the low. This might zoom in on that area just to have a good look. So we've actually got a lower high there, and we've got a lower low. Well, it's just a lower low, so it actually hasn't made it to the bottom of the parallel to our top. So the lower low, it's supported, and then the next low is actually, it hasn't made a lower low, it's closed level. That low there is closed level, so it's moving away from the bottom of this channel here. So I think it's been moving sideways within a range. I might just hide that bar, and I'll hide the other one as well, just so we just get a clearer picture here. So we've got the high volume bar here. We had our 3 days of panic at the beginning of August. You see the high volume, but the spread is narrow, so there's an attempt there to support the market, and there, and then this one pushes lower and closes high on really high volume. So, and then it goes up. It actually clears the whole area. So there must have been hidden buying. They've hidden their buying within this panic selling. And I've marked the highs and lows of some of these bars as levels we can watch now. So it's sprung up because of the buying within this bar, because it's closed on the high, really high volume. Professionals are very active along with the herd. The herd are selling, the margin calls are happening, the short covering is happening, and then it sprung up. The result of all that is the price sprung up, but it sprung up on no demand. They've come back, they've tested it, but then it's gone up on light volume. So no demand, they're not interested in higher prices, and that's because they want to accumulate lower. And as it's come back into the body of this bar here at the top, and that's between the low and the high of this bar here, has acted as a bit of a support range. As it's dropped into there, the spreads of the closes have compressed, and then the next bar closes higher. And I spend a bit of time in there, then you see it down bar and really high volume, next bar closes higher, so that's buying. All the selling that happened in that bar was being immediately satisfied with buying, and up she went. And then this was the opposite though. When it's going up, you've got supply suddenly hit as well, as it's tried to push through these bars. It has gone up a little bit, but it's come back down. That looked like a good test, but it failed because the next bar closed lower. Then we get volume come in again as in a compressed close on a down bar, and it sprung up. So they're buying that bar as it's tried to push further here. Up she went. That was a no demand. That was a classic no demand, very shortable, but you'd have a very short term target on that one. It's come down. As it coming down to these lows, the volume is lower than here, so the supply is less. Even though there's buying on this bar, there's plenty of supply there and there. I won't leave that area until that supply is absorbed. So supply is less down here, supply is less again than it was over here. Supply is a little bit higher over here. It looks like an effort to push through into there that's been rebuffed. So definitely some buying in there, but there's still supply present. We want really low volume now in this area, like these really low volumes over here into this area, and it's sort of volume has picked up, so there's still supply present. But once you see a down bar like that that closes higher, it must be buying, but oftentimes it's the start of an accumulation phase, and if they can, they'll push it lower on bad news, on anything, to try and accumulate lower while they're in there. That phase can last a while, so we'll just have to wait and see. The other thing with RIO is that RIO follows the index, and I might just show something here. Just put up overlay the XJO. There we go. I got it this time. It was playing up, so I had to pause it. But anyway, so we got the XJO up there. Looks a bit messy now, but the XJO is the grey bars. So as you can see, RIO pretty much follows and has done the XJO for quite a while now. And if we go back, there's a 2 over a long period of time. go up to the closer period of time, it's been following it pretty closely, and that's pretty much what it does. And at the moment, so you probably I did YouTube on the XJA, so if you want to have a look at that, that's pretty much reflects what I would have to say on RIO. It's just moving with the index at the moment. The last push down where it tried to push into this bar, the XJO did the same, but it actually the XJO actually got to make a lower low into the shakeout bar, while the RIO didn't actually make a lower low when it did that last push in. So so in that way it's acted a little stronger just in the last week, but you could argue that it was already acting slightly weaker than the index, and it was just playing catch up, and now it's kind of caught up now to the index, or pretty close. So yeah, market manipulation doesn't happen, does it? And I know RIO is a pretty big player, so you'd expect it to move closely with the XJO, but you see a lot of the mid caps doing the same thing. And one strategy is to pick, especially in a bad market, is to pick the shares that are outperforming the index, because even though they follow the index down, when the index goes down, everything goes down. But if they're outperforming the index, when the index recovers, then those shares are the most likely to benefit the most from a recovery. So I'll just remove that comparison chart. So what I think will happen next, and the last bar was fairly strongish, it's gone up on increased volume, it's closed off the low high, so a little bit of supply in the top. It's because it's at an area where it normally it's found a bit of resistance, so that's okay. But I think it'll do what the XJO, I think the XJO will do on Monday. I think the XJO will have seen, our market will have seen the American market, that would have seen the high volume, the American market put in a high volume, especially the Dow, high volume narrow spread up bar, which was the volume on that was extremely high, and I don't think our market will like that. I think that you might get an up thrust like one of these on the XJO, and I think they'll mark it up, use the green day on the Dow as an excuse to mark it up, and then sell it down for the day. That's what I think the XJO will do, and RIO, whether it does the same or not, I don't know, but that's just my thoughts on that anyway. But we'll just see what happens on Monday. But it's still in a range, and I think they're going to try and push into this bar, but they haven't been successful. So there's definitely some accumulation, signs of accumulation in the bottom here. So it's in that range between the high of this bar and the low of this bar, and there's definite signs of buying in the bottom, but there's still supply there. So they'll just but the longer it's been sideways, the bigger the cause it has for an up move. But we'll just see. If you get real bad news, I think they'd love to be able to get into towards the bottom of this bar here, but we'll just have to see. So at the moment, while it's in this congestion, it's pretty dangerous to take a longer term. To go back to the weekly, I think it's dangerous to take a long-term view. There's no entry here long-term while it's in this congestion zone. We're waiting for it to break the low of this bar, or to clear the high of this bar and retest on light volume, and then we can take our longer-term views. But there are, on the daily, there are your entries at at your resistance, that you get no demand, towards your resistance line over here, or your up thrusts. You probably can punt on a short, but it'd be very short term. And so you'll just have to see bars like that. You can take you can day trade that short on the when it comes close to the resistance here. You know, you'd and all those sorts of, I don't trade RIO, but that's the way I do it anyway. You got your resistance line, any weak bars trying to get up into this resistance line, you can I short, but I'm very wary then of the support coming down here. But they're just day trades. If for a longer term view I want it to break above this area and test, or break below and get weak bars trying to get back in, that'll be your shorts. But at the moment it looks longer term, I think it does look like a bit of accumulation happening down there, same as with the XJO. But the concern is that the Dow, I think, has put in a very weak day, so they're going to, I think the Dow is getting set to hammer to do a shakeout, and that could affect us here as well. And but anyway, that's RIO.